Rise with India podcast on ET Now.
Hello and a very warm welcome to this edition of the Rise with India podcast. I'm your host Rohit, and here's what we're tracking this morning. Let's start with what's been making headlines. Freshworks raises over $1 billion through US listing. US Fed hints taper may begin soon. Rate hikes possible next year. More details of the Sony deal have emerged from the con call, so stay tuned for that. And PM Modi weighs in amid the vaccine certificate spat with UK, says make international travel easier, mutually recognized vaccine certificates. Earlier this morning, Prime Minister Modi arrived in Washington, D.C. on an official visit to the US. He will hold the first face-to-face meeting with President Biden and Kamala Harris, attend the maiden in-person Quad Summit, and address the 76th session of the UN General Assembly in New York. Prime Minister Modi said international travel should be made easier through mutual recognition of vaccine certificates. His remarks come on a day when UK included Covishield among eligible COVID vaccines but kept India out of an approved vaccination list. Tech firm Freshworks made its debut on Nasdaq after a $1 billion IPO. It is the first Indian SaaS company to list on the American exchange. In the process, the IPO has made more than 500 employees crorepathi's. Founder Girish Mathrubootham described the listing of the company as an incredibly proud moment. Freshworks has in the last 10 years reached a revenue scale of more than $300 million. Cognizant India's net profit fell by about 40% to 3,300 crore rupees in FY21 from 5,500 crore rupees in FY20. Company's revenue also dipped nearly 5%. Cognizant has a significant presence in India with about 2 lakh employees. India and the UAE have formally launched negotiations for a free trade agreement, and the first round of talks will begin from today. On COVID Corner today, the number of new cases continue to fall with fewer new cases reported globally last week according to WHO. Last week's drop marked the first substantial decline for more than 2 months. The World Health Organization said there were major decreases in cases in 2 regions, a 22% fall in the Middle East and 16% drop in Southeast Asia. The Federal Reserve has signaled that it may start raising its benchmark rates sometime next year. This is earlier than envisioned 3 months ago. Fed also said it will likely begin slowing the pace of its monthly bond purchases soon if the economy keeps improving. US stocks staged a comeback from their September lows after Fed signaled it could reduce bond purchases. Hong Kong developer Chinese Estates, which holds about 5.6% stake in Evergrande, is planning to sell all its shares. The directors of the company are cautious and concerned about the recent developments. 2 bond payments are coming up today for Evergrande, and investors will closely be tracking the situation. Back home, we saw the benchmark indices cautious even as broader markets saw a widespread rally. However, Nifty managed to stay above the 17,500 level. Experts suggest as long as Nifty is comfortably above 17,400, shorts should be avoided, but buy only those stocks and sectors that have been showing improved momentum. FII's net sold shares worth about 2,000 crore rupees, while DII's net bought shares worth about 1,850 crore rupees in yesterday's trade. Let's tell you about the active stocks this morning. Details of the Sony deal have emerged from the con call. Sony India will be infusing $1.57 billion as growth capital. Said for now, just one person from promoter family will be part of the new board. The combined entity will have $1.8 billion in cash. Chairman of Zee Entertainment R. Gopalan told ET Now that he hopes shareholders will look at benefits from the merger. The deal will increase reach and market share for the combined entity, and since this is a merger of Zee with Sony, so Sony's name will be there in the new entity. Japanese farm equipment firm Kubota is in talks with the Nanda family, the promoters of Escorts, to increase its stake and eventually become a controlling shareholder, according to a news report in the Economic Times. Vodafone Idea is open to converting the interest on deferred dues into government equity, according to Managing Director Ravinder Thakkar. He added that the 4-year payment moratorium will ensure Vodafone Idea survives and is competitive. Telecom operator Bharti Airtel has said that its 21,000 crore rupee rights issue will open on October 5th. It had recently approved a fundraise at a price of 535 rupees per share. Adani Ports has acquired Andhra government's 10% stake in Gangavaram Port for about 645 crore rupees. Shareholders of IDFC have rejected a proposal to reappoint former CAG Vinod Rai as a director. Rai is also the non-executive chairman of IDFC, the holding company of IDFC First Bank. And that's all we have for you today. Thank you for your time. Do share your feedback. This is your host Rohit signing off. Wish you all a great day ahead.
The Rise with India podcast on ET Now.